So you want to start a voice AI agency in 2025. Now, I'm basically going to give you guys the best guidelines to go about doing this in this specific year, but just know that voice AI is so new. This will more than likely work all the way up to 2026. Now, all I ask from you guys is just to subscribe to be able to see more content like this. And obviously, join up in the community. I have way more content in there that you guys are able to see and get more knowledge off of. Now, let's start this off by giving a little bit of feedback on me. You might not know who I am. My name is Kevin Campos. I have basically started a voice AI agency specifically for Synthflow. Essentially, what we do is we're a development agency and we're gold certified partners of Synthflow. This just basically means that Synthflow trusts us in making users builds or the agency's builds. All in all, we're just trusted by specifically that. Okay. Now, I started off my journey 1 year ago and we've come a long way. I basically reached out to Synthflow from the beginning before I even reached out to them, I actually made an entire course going over everything that they had at the moment with Synthflow. And I just fell in love with their platform. All in all, I reached out to them. I said, hey, I have this entire course that people could use and watch for free, which by the way is added into my community now. And they liked that. They pretty much welcomed me into the team. And now I'm teaching people like you, entrepreneurs, how to be able to run, your voice AI agency in 2025. So we've made multiple, as shown in here, multiple payments have gone through for what we're planning to do, right? And what we're going to do for years on end with voice AI. But we've built out multiple different voice AIs for which we call right now, my company's name is Visionaire AI. So we call these voice AIs visionaries, right? Because they know a good amount, right? That humans basically can't do. So all in all, we're in for a long journey when it comes to this. This is just the beginning and super excited to get through with basically everything of 2025, reach our goals and amount to, and surpass what we're trying to do. So all in all, let's basically move on to like the main 3 types of company/agencies inside of the voice AI space from what I've seen this past year. Now there's mainly 3. There's development agencies such as myself, which help other users or agencies build out these voice AIs for their companies. So that way either others can resell them or others could just use it for their own companies. However it is, it's just a quality of life that we help others do. And we go into the space as more of experts along the lines, right? That's for the development agencies. Now, the other type of agencies is a reselling agency. Now, obviously resellers make sure that they place themselves as a development agency, which is a strategic option, right? But more than likely it's a development agency making that build for that reselling agency or company, whatever it is. But all in all, reselling agencies are more than likely the most profitable out of all of them just because they have a systemized process that is just replicable and duplicatable for every single person that's looking into getting into voice AI in that specific niche that they may be in. So it is a very good option. I definitely recommend that you guys go with one of these 3. But with that being said, let's move on to the last one, right? This is if you want to do it for your own company. If you want to make voice AI for your own company and scale your own company however you would like, more than likely you would be able to do so with a couple of guides that I've given you. But that is just the third type of company/agencies inside of the voice AI space right now. Now, how I'm going to be diving deeper into my own type of agency, which is the development agency. And the reason for this is because I understand it the best. I don't want to go with a reselling agency that maybe I don't even resell, I don't really resell at all. So I'm going to stick to what I know best, which is the development type of agency. All right. Implementation agency, whatever you really want to call it. Now, what are the foundations? What are the core pillars of having a successful voice AI development agency? There's a couple of things, one of which being human resources, right? Development teams, a sales team, a content team, and a customer support team. You want to make sure that you build, because really you want to make sure that you build out your team to the point where you know that you're able to rely on them without having to work on your agency. Without having to work in your agency in comparison to working on your agency. You want to be able to have that high level at all times as a CEO to visualize where you're currently at in the company and how you can be better and position yourself in a better way to be successful. Now, I'm going to go over each and every single one of these core pillars so that way you understand how I'm able to streamline this process for my team for them to deliver results every single time. Let's start off with the human resources team. We basically hire people using LinkedIn and Upwork for job posts. We post a job, we get 10 through 100 applicants, and then we use voice AI to qualify each and every single one of these applicants. So we give them an inbound phone number that they can call, talk with our voice AI, answer like 10 or 20 questions, make sure that they're very qualified for the job. And then once we identify the ones that are qualified, we add them into a pipeline stage inside of GoHighLevel that is capable of essentially telling us and notifying us, hey, this person is qualified, jump on a call with them, give them an interview, and move on with the process, right? That's how we find our qualified developers to be able to deliver results for clients. We only want the best of the best. So there's no way of going through thousands of applicants without the use of voice AI, obviously fast in a matter. So with that being said, that is how I streamline my human resource team to be able to go through all of these applicants in such a short span of time. All right. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit about my development team, which is essentially the hardest part out of all parts within a development agency. Okay. So I use a couple of tools and I'm going to describe each and every single one of them. So the first thing is GPT/Claude. I basically use GPT mainly to be able to create a prompt. Now keep in mind, GPT is only able to create 70% of a prompt. Why do I use GPT? Well, GPT can be easily trained to entitle every single little bit of a prompt that I want in there. So I can take a niche, I can take a specific thing that I want to do within an industry, have the GPT generate that prompt for me, and then my team works on it manually to make it from 70% to 100% of its capabilities, because the GPT is not going to be able to do everything. You need to know exactly how a prompt and LLM works to be able to go into the stage of 100%, right? So I use GPT for that. Now, then I use GoHighLevel. I don't use Zapier. I don't use Make. I don't use N8N. I figured out personally that for myself, GoHighLevel works the best because it's the cheapest, maybe $297, but Zapier, all those different platforms do charge you per task. So per action made essentially, and GoHighLevel doesn't. And there's a way to bypass what GoHighLevel charges you to make it even cheaper than even paying for that simple task. So all in all, I figured out for myself at least that the automations inside of GoHighLevel are cheaper. And then of course it has multiple different capabilities such as CRMs, pipeline stages, and all that stuff that already level it up even further for agencies to be able to scale. Not to mention it has sub-account capabilities, which you can create into snapshots and duplicate it to other clients, which is where resellers usually come in and they do that for their own company. Now, in terms of voice AI, I use Synthflow. Now, Synthflow is the leading voice AI. Obviously, I feel like it's like more or less along the lines of Vappy right now, but I would say in terms of quality and ease of use for users, Synthflow takes it by a mile just because they're able to easily integrate with almost any platform that you may think of. And not to mention, once you go in, you can get an assistant done in a matter of seconds. And it's super simple to do so because you can also connect it to your GoHighLevel, cal.com, whatever you're really using in a matter of minutes. Like nothing hard at all on that sense. Not to mention, Synthflow is also capable of having a white labeling ability. So they have a plan that allows you to white label Synthflow. And obviously you can create sub accounts within Synthflow, which helps you out with your reselling agency as well. So all in all, that's what I use for voice AI. Now I use AWS to be able to create custom apps for clients. This is essentially if they want to be able to rotate authentication tokens, which we'll get to in separate videos later on. Rotate authentication tokens, be able to gather specific data that we're not able to gather from a normal API call. So that's where we have those API rules that go in, which we just do through our custom apps, which is no big deal, but we use AWS for that. Obviously some other small applications, but all in all, AWS is the main one. So for phone numbers, we use Twilio. Now Twilio is absolutely the best phone provider that we are able to currently use right now. Not to mention easily integratable to Synthflow. It's natively integrated onto there. So you can basically implement phone numbers by them in a matter of seconds and then put them onto your Synthflow account super easily. Lastly, we use 11 Labs to be able to clone or use voices that have already been cloned before. And then as I mentioned, it's also natively integrated onto Synthflow. So I use, let's say if I wanted to clone my own voice, I would use 11 Labs to easily go in there, clone my voice, and then even add it onto Synthflow. So I can have a voice AI caller, have my own voice, super creepy, of course, and do whatever it is, right? I can even do the HR thing that I mentioned earlier and have that on there. So that's it for my dev team side. We use all of these applications, and obviously I know it's a lot to take in, but we use all those applications to be able to streamline the process that we have. Obviously there's more things that go on the back end, but separate videos can be be made for that. Now let's move on to the sales team. This is where things start to get interesting. How do we streamline the process for a sales team? Now, all in all, we mostly get personally inbound calls from content that I make. So with that content that I make, people book in meetings, but we also have separate features and abilities with Voice AI that allow us to book in meetings just using Voice AI. Now, I won't get too far into that, but let's just imagine right now that we book in an appointment. With that appointment, right now, usually people are using email and SMS to be able to follow up with that appointment, so that way they can enter the call, and obviously it does improve show up rate. But how can we take that a step further? So what we did is we use email, SMS, and Voice AI to be able to take it a step further. Now we have a Voice AI calling the users that would essentially, the person that booked in the appointment, and that Voice AI would confirm if they either confirm the appointment, they need to reschedule the appointment, or even cancel the appointment. And the Voice AI is capable of making sure that all of this gets done on call itself with the user right there. All right. So it's absolutely amazing. It saves us so much time in doing that, other than having somebody that takes care of it with the sales team. Super easily done, right? Then if, let's say, for example, we come to the point where the user still doesn't show up, we have a no-show Voice AI that calls the user whenever they're marked as no-show and asks them, like, a couple questions like, hey, why wasn't it that you were able to make it to the call? Can I reschedule you? So on and so forth. We have a Voice AI specifically for that, and it works like a charm. So that's how we streamline the sales process of things. Like I mentioned, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more that will come in the future, but I'm giving you guys just a brief overview. Now let's move on to the content team, as well as different options that I use to streamline that content side. Now I use, personally, to edit my videos, I use CapCut. I started editing my own videos. Obviously that's why videos in the past weren't the best, but I started editing my videos myself. Now I have a video editor, and we're actually able to streamline this process. He just uses CapCut and other platforms to be able to make it super easily editable. And in order to be able to create very good thumbnails, we use Replicate. Now Replicate allows you to introduce a picture of yourself, and with that picture you can actually make it with AI. For example, if I wanted to type in, hey, use Kevin's picture and create him pointing his finger at the side or something like that, it would essentially make that thumbnail using AI without having to multiply replicate, like, and me having to take pictures of myself over and over again to create different types of thumbnails. It allows you to streamline the thumbnail process at the end of the day. Now, then for content writing, we use Claude. Now, Claude is very good for content writing, more than GPT, in my opinion, just because that's what it's mostly specialized in doing. So if you're ever looking to write content for yourself, trust me, use Claude. You are not going to doubt the capabilities that it can have. All right. Now, moving on to customer support. How do I streamline my customer support team? I use two different things. I use WhatsApp and I use Slack. So Slack is mainly for my own team, where we have different channels of every single build out that's happening at the moment. And we are able to talk with my team instead of talking with, the actual client of that project itself. That's what we use Slack for. Now, if we wanted to talk with our client, we have our client separately on a WhatsApp channel. Why do we use WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp is typically more common than using Slack. So that's why universally almost everybody already has a WhatsApp account, or obviously it already is integratable with a phone number, and the messages get straight onto your inbox super easily. So that way they're able to streamline that process and obviously talk about the project on WhatsApp. So these are the two platforms that we just use for client interaction. And if they have any doubts, we create tickets on Slack to be able to get those projects finished out in a timely manner and super fast. But that's what we use for the customer support type of team. All right. And that's how we streamline the process. Now, I'm going to cover a little bit of the methods that you could use in terms of outreaching to other people to be able to sell your development services for Voice AI. But I'm not going to go too into depth because I have that already inside of my community. But let's touch a little bit of the points, right? So there's 4 points, 4 pillars for this: personal connections, team of cold callers, email inbound and outbound. So sorry, email outbound just in case, and content creation. So personal connections, let's start off with that one. When I started with Voice AI, I only decided to do cold calls, right? But in a sense, this didn't really work because you can't do cold calls in scale. How did I get to the point where I'm at right now with personal connections? So I started off by going off some of the friends that I had, some of the family members that I had, and told them about what I was doing. Honestly, that was the best thing that I could have done at the time, just because it allowed me to build a foundation, build the knowledge of Voice AI that I had, and do simple $500 to $1,000 projects projects to get me started, right? This was just the best way to go about it. Obviously, offering free value when you're starting is super crucial, but I go about it inside of my community. Now, that's what you can do to leverage personal connections. Make sure to reach out to the people that are closest to you, because you would be surprised on what you would find. Now, if you don't have that many personal connections, you could then do content creation. This basically is going to be the main pillar for you to be able to get clients. Content creation is basically the best method that you could use ever to be able to get clients in scale, right? Now, in order to be able to do this, obviously, you may need to start off by creating a YouTube channel, start off by making a Twitter, maybe making your own community and starting to grow that, however you would like. At the end of the day, you will need to make some sort of content to be able to show yourself and prove yourself that you are an expert in the space. All right. That's more or less what you want to do with content creation, because that's where you're going to get all of the inbound. You should focus less on getting outbound done in comparison to inbound. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I've just found inbound to be much better. Right now, we don't do much outbound. We mainly focus on inbound and making good content to be able to get clients coming in. Now, let's move on to cold callers. Now, I currently do have a team of cold callers. Cold callers essentially are, if you don't know, of course, are essentially people who pick up the phone and then call businesses inside of the niche that we're currently targeting, and they try to get them booked into appointments and obviously brief them, give them a brief overview on what voice AI is, so that way they know what they're getting into and so on and so forth. So that's how I have a team of 5 cold callers at the moment, which they go about state by state, calling multiple businesses, making sure that they know what's going on before they even hop on a call. But usually whenever we do cold calling, we do find a good amount of success, just because everybody that goes in a call are usually qualified because of the conversations that we have with them inside of the cold call. So in a sense, that's what we do for cold calling. But like I said, brief overview. Then we do email outbound marketing. So we do email marketing just because we're able to get over 100 domains and entirely send out email campaigns. I'm not going to specify which platforms we use at the moment, but just know Smart Lead is one of them, and Smart Lead is very good at being able to send out multiple emails. Like, we're talking about tens of thousands of emails per day to be able to get to the clients that we want. Right now, all in all, these are all things that you need to have in order to be able to start your voice AI agency in 2025. These are the best tools that you could use. These are the best engagement tools, right, that you could use to streamline your processes for your whole team. And hopefully this was very valuable for you guys, because all in all, I'm just trying to make you guys grow. Obviously, this helps me grow as well. So if you guys could definitely go ahead and leave a subscribe and like down below, I would really appreciate that. It helps me make more content. It motivates me to be better every single day, and obviously help my team to make more content for you guys. But at the end of the day, I'm just here to offer value. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.